Welcome to Mixology. I'm Christine Cookitch, and along with Shannon Howard, we talk about the intersection of customer education and customer marketing as the scale engines to customer success. This session is a treat. We're talking with Melissa VanPelt, Vice President of Customer Marketing at Seismic. When we were planning for her to join us, I asked her for her favorite drink combos. Her response was tequila and orange juice. That led to our mixology concoction today that we're calling the MVP. Here's the ingredients: 2 ounces of tequila, 1 ounce simple syrup, 1 ounce Grand Marnier, and 4 ounces of blood orange juice. You'll need a shaker, some ice, and a glass to put it all in. Add the tequila, simple syrup, and Grand Marnier to the shaker and shake until you feel the cold. Add the blood orange juice to the shaker and shake some more. Pour into a glass, get comfortable, and join us as Melissa tells us about her journey. Here we go. And we are here with Melissa VanPelt, which is why we have an MVP, which is all here. And Melissa, let's start with a basic introduction because there may actually be people who don't know who you are. So you want to start there?
Sure. Yeah, of course. My name is Melissa VanPelt, and my initials are MVP, and most people actually know me by those initials, which is fun. I married into those initials, so pretty neat. But yeah, I lead our global customer marketing organization at Seismic, and our customer marketing organization within our global marketing organization. And within customer marketing, we have several disciplines that are all focused on retention, adoption, loyalty, and expansion, growth of our customer base. And we will dig into some of those disciplines today, but that is my current role.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on Mixology. This all got started with a post that Shannon did, where she was talking about the right to expand, basically, and how you were an exemplary version of that for customer education, customer marketing, and of course, then mixology, right? And so we said, well, you should come and tell us your story because it's exactly what we talk about all the time. So then the first question that we have is, where did that trajectory actually come from? How did you get from the beginning to here?
Yeah. I love talking about this and the journey because it's been such a exciting journey, a long journey. How far back do you want me to go? Pre-seismic days? Just so
Oh, I was just gonna say maybe start at Seismic. You've been there for 8 years, and everybody kind of knows. Well, we're assuming people know your role today, and we'll talk about it more. But where did it start? Just to give people an idea, right? Because sometimes we see things as they are today, but we don't always know the humble beginnings.
Yeah, sure. So I came into Seismic as a customer success manager in the customer success organization. I came with a background in sales training and revenue operations. That was a kind of nice skill set to have to understand training, customer facing type experiences. And as a customer success manager at the time, I think many people in SaaS can appreciate Seismic was a really early stage company. When I joined the company, you wore many, many different hats. You were a jack of all trades. So at the time, we in customer success, we handled implementations, we'd handle account management, we handled escalations, we were the liaison between customers, the product organization, project management, you name it, right? We did it all. But that experience laid the foundation for my growth and trajectory at Seismic, because what I was doing in that role was I needed to learn the product inside and out. I needed to understand how our customers were using our product, their use cases, the outcomes that they were trying to achieve using our product. understanding where their learning gaps were, kind of what their needs were. And from there, that kind of propelled my journey at Seismic. It allowed me to really have a deep understanding of our business, our customers, our product, and couple that with my kind of passion for customer experience, customer education, community. I was put into a strategic role for the business to build out, customer facing programs. The purpose of those programs were really twofold. From an internal lens, it was, how do we scale our business? We were a high growth SaaS tech company. We had to put programs in place to scale. And then on the customer side, it was, how are we driving platform proficiency and plugging customers more deeply into us, our business, and each other? And so from the customer success management role, the first initiative that I worked on was standing up a community, our online social community. And then from there, we got a formal investment in customer education. So now we had our social learning component, our formal learning component. So we built out Seismic University, and our certification program for admins. We acquired a couple companies along the way, so we're integrating businesses and academies and universities and personas that we're trying to address from a learning perspective. And then the next big initiative was customer advocacy. And so building out that program, and really the approach that we took there again was, hey, this is really supposed to be a nurture program for our customers. How are we bringing them into the fold? What are we doing to get them more engaged with us, our executive team, our product organization? How are we elevating their successes and connecting them with each other to share kind of their experiences, the pain points, challenges they're facing in the enablement space, and helping each other solve the problems that they're all collectively facing. And so we built out that program, and we also were working on digital engagement at the same time. And then at the time, I mean, this is over several years, but there was a lot of traditional customer marketing areas that were decentralized across our business. And about a year and a half now, maybe, I spoke with some of our executives about centralizing them under a customer marketing function and bringing several of these disciplines together. And we can go deeper into that, but really to create the main purpose is, how are we going to create a more seamless and cohesive customer journey that is supporting our business at scale, making sure we have educated customers, informed customers who are engaged and plugged in and getting value from not only the products, but from our partnership. And so we made the decision to centralize a lot of these programs under customer marketing, and now that's where we're currently at today.
Do you find that frictionless is something that you think about in the way that you're building out these programs so that your customers are experiencing an easier time of it?
Every day. I mean, you can't be a customer-centric leader without thinking about, how do we remove friction for customers? How do we make this more pleasant? How do we create experiences and moments for our customers that become a brand affinity moment for our customers, right? Delight them. I think we, as part of our advocacy and community programs, we have customer experience councils, customer advisory boards, and that is really to improve the experience and value our customers are getting from their partnership with us. And that, for me, is a vital piece to our programs. We have deeply, deeply engaged customers who are so willing to help us improve for them, right? And it's not just like enhancement requests and improving the product. It's, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you use this channel to communicate with us? Why don't we spin up this program or these events to get it? Like, it's so powerful and valuable to have the customer community that we have at Seismic, who are so willing to really be true partners, right? Not only are we consulting and advising them on how to use our product and get value, but they're consulting and advising us on, hey, this is what we would like to see. This is what will help us feel better about our experience. So yeah, of course, we're always thinking about friction.
Shannon, this is really your question, so I'm going to let you take the second one because this was the heart of where this all started.
Yeah. So our second question for you, right? So it sounded like you started in customer success. It became community, was a strategic initiative, which then pulled in more formal customer education, and then these customer marketing, which it sounds like there were a number of different functions. And you mentioned around retention, loyalty, engagement, and adoption, right? Product adoption. And I think this is right, like for customer minded people, customer marketers, customer education people, this makes sense, right? It just flat out, it makes sense. And I think you kind of are that that customer focused leader that we want to see in more organizations. And my question was around how you kind of grew that influence within the business, right? So how did you prove the value of what you were doing and then, earn the right to take on and bring in more, right? Because it makes sense, but how did you kind of approach that progression?
Organically. I will say that I never set out to build an empire. Not that customer marketing is an empire, but build this massive organization with a lot of scope. I think for me, on a personal level, it was really trying to understand our business needs. It was being able to be vulnerable and comfortable with stretching outside of areas that I don't have expertise in, right? But being a really trusted leader that has proven I will learn everything I need to learn about an area, an expertise, a discipline, whatever field it may be, and apply it to our business in a meaningful way and in a effective way. So the willingness to kind of just throw myself in the business's willingness to trust me and continue to support me in growing different areas of the business. I think if you start to do things and you do them well and you execute and you prove, hey, just took this on, went all in, learned everything I need to, didn't know everything, didn't pretend to know everything, but dug in, rolled up my sleeves, understand our customers' needs, business needs, and built something out. It's much easier for leaders to say, hey, that worked. What's the next thing that makes sense to be there? Oh, that worked. What's the next thing, right? And so that's kind of the proving the value. And I'm just taking a really fundamentally humble and vulnerable approach to figure out how to make things work at your business and go all in and commit to learn and do it well and do it with excellence. And that's kind of where I came from.
How do you find the right people to help you with this?
I think there's several things. I think plugging into a network is very, very important. Finding people in, I think I told this story before on a CLAP episode, but 2017, when I was tasked with building out a customer education program, I went on to LinkedIn and started looking for leaders and thought leaders in the customer education space, and just started reaching out, literally blind, like cold calling people. And Albert Mescu was one of them. And reached out to him and just introduced myself, told him what I was trying to do. He started connecting me with additional resources, building those relationships, sharing experiences, sharing challenges, building trust. And over time, like that's really how I found tremendous people for my team, is referrals in the network. And I think the other thing for me is, I take a very, very active role in people and teams. I'm a former athlete, played at a pretty competitive level. And so team and understanding what makes different people work, people's strengths and weaknesses, how you fill in the gaps and complement each other, and building that out is something that I'm really passionate about. And I think it's one of my strengths as a leader. And so, like, I tell you that because I'm very, very heavily involved in interview processes and meeting with people and talking, even if it isn't formal interviews, always kind of trying to connect and engage with people in a variety of different ways. That's important, and being able to kind of see and recognize greatness and strengths and opportunities on where to plug certain people into our org and our business, I think is a good skill set to have. It's helped me a lot.
For sure. Kind of also on your development over time, you mentioned kind of learning as much as possible. You mentioned reaching out to people. Is that how you kind of immerse yourself in these new efforts, right? Because I think it is scary, right? We see all over LinkedIn imposter syndrome. And what if I don't know? Well, of course, isn't that how you grow, is you get uncomfortable and you have to learn something new? How do you approach doing that? Like learning, is it just finding other people who have done it? Is that kind of your go-to?
No, you're one thing people probably don't know about me, those that work closely, I am neurotic. I never sleep. I'm always reading. I'm like, whether it's books, whether it's online, whether it's podcasts, whether it's connecting with people, engaging, listening, active listening, like always kind of on. So it's all the things. I think obviously you learn a lot from those that have walked in your shoes ahead of you, paving the roads and the paths for you. They're really helpful in flagging the landmines that you could potentially step in, and sharing a lot of tips and tricks. So like fundamentally, some of the like foundational level information and skills I typically either get from books or podcasts. Right now I'm reading, I don't know if you can see this, the Chief Customer Officer Playbook.
I just talked with Rod right before this.
Love this book, but I have a whole library behind me of books that not only just like professional, but also inspirational coaching, leadership, team building, culture building. But yeah, LinkedIn, I find LinkedIn, there's tremendous value in content there. I love how much it has become a place of sharing insights, thought leadership. Love reading all the comments and dialogue that people have back and forth and debates. So yeah, I kind of do it all. I think that's part of it, right? So when I said commit, if I'm tasked with something, I throw all of myself into it. It's not half. It's I don't think for me there's ever like 100%. It's always 150, 200%, which isn't necessarily healthy. That's why I joke I'm a lunatic. But that's the athlete, the competitor in me. I just like, that is what motivates me so much. It's something inside. so yeah, I have some recency bias because I also just took on a U8 competitive club girls soccer team, and so I'm thinking through like myself and who I am and how, like, all of these things of like why I go all in for everything. But I love it. It keeps me so like motivated and passionate and excited about what I do. I joke oftentimes that I get restless soul syndrome. So if I'm not challenged and pushed and uncomfortable, then something doesn't feel good. I get restless, like I'm not comfortable in the mundane. So yeah.
You have to find something new, right?
Yeah, new challenges.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's a challenge of taking on these new functions and disciplines, right? Of, okay, what is customer education? How do we do that well? What's customer marketing? How do we do that well? But there's also the challenge of integrating those things. So they're working together, right? Because it's not like this, that, and the other. It's this, that, and the other. So how do you kind of bring all those things together into one function?
Yeah. So that's probably one of the tougher things, to make sure everything is coordinated and cohesive and integrated and all anchored around, right, our goals of retention, adoption, growth. So for me, when I look at the life cycle of a customer and their journey, I think what we're driving towards is value realization for our customers, right? Not only value from our product portfolio, but value from our partnership. And so what does that look like, and how do you map that out? And learning is foundational to value realization. Whether we are trying to initially drive platform proficiency for first-time users, or educate customers on product updates, or introduce more sophisticated use cases for our more mature adopters, learning is foundational, right? Customers, when I think about customer marketing, that is customer education, right? You are educating your customers in a variety of different ways, in a variety of different learning formats, right? Tailoring your efforts to a variety of different learning preferences, whether it's self-service on demand, structured learning, instructor-led learning, webinars, articles, community peer-to-peer learning, social learning, right? And so for me, learning is woven through the entire customer journey. I look at community, I look at advocacy. That's sharing. That's customers who are having success sharing and learning and educating other customers, right? And so I lean in really heavily to the learning component in customer marketing, because I do think that is our framework for the way we approach customer marketing. How do we keep them tactically integrated and feeling seamless? We do have, well, I guess first part of that is we're under one umbrella. We're under one leader. Each one of my leaders that runs those disciplines are on our leadership team. We're planning quarterly together. We're targeting and sharing corporate objectives and goals and key results, right? That is important to keep things from a visibility perspective, not going and working in those different silos. That is basically, hey, we're working on the same thing. We're unifying on the same goals, and we're moving together in a orchestrated, united front towards those goals. That's just, I feel like that's the most fundamental thing that you have to do to be able to keep these programs coordinated and feeling like they aren't disjointed. Now, I think there's the tricky piece of, hey, guess what? Well, each one of these programs also is kind of running on a different technology. So how do you make that seamless. And that's been a journey too, right? I think trying to build an interconnected experience across platforms, that's another piece to it, because quite frankly, we've had a very disjointed experience for our customers across university, community, tech docs portal, in-app. We made a very deliberate effort and push over the last 9 months to pull that all together. It took a lot of engineering work. It took a central authentication system. It took UI UX development. But that's been a work in progress. I think it's challenging. And then you think about, you acquire companies, you got to integrate those and their portals and migrate customers. So there's a lot that goes into that. But yeah, I always say we put our best foot forward. We're not perfect. It's top of mind for us all the time on how we can keep things consistent, but it's definitely always a work in progress.
So if we had to take theme words, I'm getting consistency, I'm getting frictionless, and the third one is cohesion, I think. Those are the three like themes that I hear you weave into this whole story.
Mhm.
Truth?
I'd add excellence to that one too. You said excellence a number of times, and I think that's a really big part of it too. Doing something you mentioned earlier, quality and care, like quality and care that you put into the work that you're doing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we really try to instill, and we look for people like this, is there is such a human element to this, where we fully are bought in, recognize that like we have customers on the other side of this who are trying to do things at their organizations. How do we help them? How do we make them successful? Like, we are so invested in setting our customers up for success, and seeing them feel good about the relationships they have with us and our programs. That is like so important to us. And I think that shines through in our programs. From the feedback that we get, is that our customers recognize like this isn't just a business for us, it's personal. And that really makes all the difference in the way that we approach from an excellence perspective, right? It becomes natural because it is so deeply personal to us to deliver the best services, support experience for our customers.
So now, last question as we start wrapping things up. What advice would you give to the newbies out there, or to the people who are in the middle of this journey of trying to do the things that you've done?
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many different ways that I could answer that question. I think first and foremost, never put yourself in a box. I think stay open, stay flexible, stay willing and hungry to grow and stretch and learn. I think that is something that will take you very, very far in your career. I talk to a lot of people. I do a lot of mentorship, and a lot of people, you mentioned earlier, Shannon, like imposter syndrome, or I don't have the experience to do that, and discredit their abilities or skill sets to be put in a role to make something incredible. And so for me, it is, first and foremost, stretch, be humble, listen. I think it's always tuning in and recognizing and seeing needs. Raise your hand to fill those gaps, and go after things. I think my other advice would be lean on people that have done it before you. Don't you don't have to have all the answers to build something and do something. There's other people that have, and that is very, that you should never let ego get in the way of reaching out to people and asking questions and digging in. I think the best leaders are really comfortable not knowing and not having answers, and being able to just speak up and ask questions. I think, from a personal perspective, the advice that I would have is, and just have a vision and know kind of where you want to go. What motivates you. I think everyone is motivated in different ways. Everyone's passionate about different things. I think passion fuels success. And so, love what you do. Love the people that you work with. We're not, that's important to me. I'm surrounded every day by people that I enjoy, that are great, that are brilliant, that I'm fascinated by. That's been really special and important to me too. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. I feel like there's so many things. Clearly, I did not think through all these questions ahead of our time together.
Well,
But
we can always bring you
Yeah.
back.
yeah,
I mean, you can always come back, but I think what all of that says is there is no magic bullet. There's no like one thing that everybody's missing. It's this combination of all these different ways of being and acting and learning and staying humble and staying hungry and like raising your hand and listening, all those skills. It's not just any one thing, it's that combination of skills and experiences.
And there's one other thing that I think is important for people to know too, is that like, I'm a real strong believer in, we have all these different seasons of our lives. And I've had a lot of women chat with me recently about, oh my gosh, you're a mom of two young girls, really driven, spirited girls, and how do you do it all with Seismic and your children? And it just seems daunting. And my answer to your point is, there actually isn't a magic bullet. And if I'm transparent, it is daunting and it is exhausting, and it takes a tremendous amount of resilience. And it might not be for everyone in that season of life. If you're a mom with young children, it might not be your season to go all in career. And you may want to consider and think through that. For me, it was my season where, you know what, I'm going all in on both. I had my kids later in life, and this was my time, and the opportunities were there. But it's hard. There isn't work-life balance, right? And you are often burning the candles on both ends. And I think I just always encourage everyone to say, like, what are you comfortable with at this point in your life, and where you want to be? And it's okay to either take a step back or charge forward, but there's sacrifices and there's give and take, and you're going to give up some things, and you just have to like lay it all out and make peace with your decisions. So I think, make peace and know that, like, hey, maybe 5 years from now, I'll be in a different season, and I do want to go all in on this or that. So everyone's different. Everyone has a different path. Don't compare yourself to other people. Pick the path that's right for you as an individual and as a professional, and enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. It's a journey. It certainly is a journey. I look back at my time at Seismic, and there's, we were joking before we started this session. When I reflect, it's like, oh, wow, I got to write a book on some of the things that we've navigated, been through, the highs, the lows, everything in between. It's wild, but that's what keeps everything so interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Completely agree.
Yeah. I feel like we just had the conversation we wanted to have, and then the conversation we also needed to have around the realities of building a program like this, and navigating the workplace and work-life balance, or work-life integration, however we want to kind of talk about that now. So yeah, appreciate your time.
So,
Melissa.
yes, thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us in this session. It is always great to talk with practitioners who, number one, have the success that you have, but also are not afraid to share that, not afraid to share the stories and the ups. And there's always downs, right? And you get to share those as well.
So there's a lot of downs, right?
Right.
There is, and we just, that's the reality of business, but and
so
life.
Welcome to the network, and
Yeah.
everyone recognize we're building a network, and,
Yes.
and that's what we do. So reach out, and thank you again. And
Thank you, ladies, so much for reaching out. I love these sessions. I appreciate it. And I look forward to more with you both.
Oh, awesome. This is going to be fun. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you next time.
Have a great day.